Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome back to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
And I'm Pepper.
And what are we back doing today, Pepper?
We are ranking all of the civilizations in Tapestry.
Yes.
This is part 2. We went through the bottom 10 in part 1, and now we are on to the 21 through, what is it? Oh my.
14.
21 through 12.
Through 12?
Through 12,
oh,
yes.
Boy.
That line means something else, Zach.
I gotta get a couple more.
Yes, I had to make an adjustment. I accidentally ranked these wrong, so there's a little gap there that he got confused by.
But we're ready.
But yes, we're on the middle section of civilizations.
So, yeah, go check out the other video first if you want to see where we rank those. If you're just showing up for this video, I guess what we did was rank these individually based on our preference, not necessarily what we thought was the weakest versus strongest. That may be what we end up picking, but that wasn't, I guess, how I ranked them. And then we took the average and did a ranking based on our average picks. So, yeah, we're up to, what'd you say, tied for 19?
Yes. Well, actually, we're up to 21.
Oh, yes. Yep. He's
got
marks all over this page. That confuses
me. You're
me.
probably confused. He has an average of 19 because I gave this a 21. You gave it a 17. It is from the Plans and Ploys expansion, which, if you caught the last video, the previous two were also Plans and Ploy expansions.
Ooh. So we got 3 in a row here.
These are the Islanders.
Ooh, yes. So the Islanders have a little map on their civilization. So the Islanders are mystified by a massive island on the horizon, and they devote their resources to exploring it. Start with 4 territory tiles in your supply. At the beginning of your income turns 2 through 5, you may explore one of the hexes on this mat. Place a territory tile here and gain the exploration benefit and points just as you would on the board. These hexes cannot be conquered, but they can be explored on advancement turns via exploration actions. On step 3 of your final income turn, gain 4 points for each of these territory tiles that contains only water on the outer edge. If you gain a civilization in the middle of the game, you may discard it and gain another. If you keep it, immediately place up to 4 of your territory tiles on these hexes. Don't gain exploration benefits from this. So, yeah, I think this might have been one of the first, if not the second, Plans and Ploys civilization mat that I used. I can't remember if this was, I think, the aliens and maybe the treasure hunters was it. Which one does? Those were the 2 that we tried, maybe.
Yeah, I think aliens and those, because the aliens started out with some space tiles and you start out with some exploration tiles.
Yeah, that's what it was. But yeah, I really enjoy this. It gives you kind of, like you said, if you checked out our other video, we kind of talked about some that maybe interacted with some tiles. I think this is and we talked about how sometimes you have a bunch of leftover tiles at the end of the game. This one gives you a good way to use tiles. I think it also pushes you a little bit up that exploration track in general, a little bit more than some of the other civilizations. And I just like the fact that you can still get the benefits from doing these. Assuming you don't get it mid-game. But, yeah. And I like, there are a lot of tiles that are just like pretty much surrounded by water. So it should be pretty decently, I wouldn't say too easy, but pretty easy
get a good chunk of points.
Yeah, get a good chunk of points at the end of the game as well. 4 points for every
one of those, which is pretty decent, in addition to also scoring the points for placing it and getting the resource.
Right. So I think this is a solid one where it's giving you resources, giving you a good chunk of points at the end of the game, and still giving you points as if you're placing a tile out on the board, which can be really good as well, especially if you do get a bunch of those ones that are mostly water on each edge and you start connecting them, you get a few more points. Not a ton with that part, but still a little bit of points.
Yeah, it just gives you more exploration, and it doesn't really remove any of the things that made that fun.
Right.
And I just love that you do start out with 4 tiles.
Yes, that's nice too.
It just gives you more options of possibly income buildings or tech cards or upgrades or anything good that you might need, and I think that can also give you a little focus of what you're going to want to do.
I would agree.
So we're on to the next two are actually tied for 19th place. So for ties, we just took whichever one had the best individual ranking between us two would go higher. So the next one with an 18 from me and a 15 from you is the leaders.
Yes. So the leaders excel at cultivating the leadership abilities of their citizens. At the beginning of your income turns 2 through 5, you may place a player token on an uncovered leader, which is a square on this map, to advance for free on the corresponding track. Gain the benefit, but you may not gain the bonus. So yeah, it's got a little square here for each different track. So the exploration, tech, military, and science tracks. It just kind of gives you one extra bump on that track, which I find really satisfying, really cool, because there are some early on that some spaces early on that you may not want to do, so that'd be a good time to use this, especially if you didn't plan on necessarily. Might be a chance you might not be going up that track more than maybe one more space, so you kind of even save some of. If you're like, oh, and end game, I'm hoping to get all the way up the tech track, you can kind of save that one for either your third or fourth income. That way you can maybe save yourself 2 or 3 resources, which is huge in the game. So overall, I think this mat's going to save you, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish, 7 or more resources possibly. Obviously, your last one, there's a chance it may not be great, depending on where you put yourself, but there's also a chance you might set yourself up in a really good spot and make it worth it too. I really like the fact that you're saving it, and it's just simple. It's not trying to be too flashy, really. Just kind of simple.
Yeah, I think I really like it as well. It can save resources, and you do get the benefits, which is really nice. And you don't get the bonuses, which I think especially early on, I think it would be nice to rather just get the bonus, especially for those pay to gain an income building spots on the first tier of each of the tracks. And I think that maybe an option to choose either the benefit or bonus, and not both, could have maybe made it a little better.
That's true.
But as it is, I really like it, and just kind of trying to come up with a little plan of which tracks you want to go up in the order of the game. And just a free movement at the end of the game or very late in the game is just really exciting. And trying to plan and really get it on the perfect spot.
Yeah, that could be perfect for your game.
Yes. Up next, this is an arts and architecture civilization.
That's the second one. Finally hit our second one.
I had it at 23rd. You had it at 12, so you definitely prefer this one, and they are the collectors.
Yes, so the collectors proudly display a variety of objects and buildings. When you gain at least one of the following during an advancement turn, you may place one of them on the civilization mat. If there isn't already one of that type here, then gain a resource. So there's an outpost, so via the Conquer benefit, do not roll dice. You put that in there. Or a gray building, or I'm totally blanking. What is that one?
Landmark.
Oh yeah, landmark. Tapestry
they
card.
just introduced that icon just lately, and it's like, what is this?
What is this great thing? Tapestry card, a tile, exploration tile, or a tech card. And then at the end of the game, gain victory points according to the number of different objects on this civilization mat. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 objects for 1, 3, 6, 10, 15, or 21 points, respectively. Items on your mat still count as yours for purposes of scoring, but may no longer be used, upgraded, played, or discarded. All cards and tiles are kept face down. So, yeah, I think the first time I played this one, I wasn't like totally impressed by it, but I know the last play that I had with it, I actually had a couple of these items that I got late in the game that I really had no use for. So I was able to put them on there and pretty much convert them into a resource, which I found was really awesome. And then it also got me just a good little bit of chunk of points at the end too, because I think I either had 4 or 5, so 10 or 15 points, which isn't a ton, but it's a little something extra. It is a little tough because a lot of these things are very important in the game. I feel like the Tapestry card one you could maybe forego, especially towards the end of the game. When you're in your final, you've already taken your final one or whatever. Well, not your final, but your second to final. Or maybe if you're getting more tiles and you're kind of past most of the expiration, you already have maybe a couple. Those two are probably the easiest, and then in specific scenarios, the others could be good to do as well. But I just had a real blast playing them the last time I did, and I thought it really actually helped me a lot more by being able to turn them into resources.
Yeah, for sure. I like anything where you can gain benefits during the advancement turns and not specifically the income turns. And
that's true.
They're definitely like that tile in the Tapestry card. Just feel like you do usually end up having one of those during the game where it's like, I don't really need this. To be able to get a resource there and also get some points for the end of the game is really nice, just to swap benefits to get something better. Anytime you can do that is great. And, I mean, it ends up being 6 resources possible, which is only, like, we say things where it's like, oh, if it gives you 1 resource per income, that's kind of pretty weak, and this actually isn't really that much better, especially since some of them can also give you resources, but it does feel better, and I don't know why, but it does feel better. Yeah, and it's probably ranked that high just because it was a pretty recent play, so that probably bumped it up a little more for me than it really should have, because, like you said, it's not that many. It would be interesting if you cleared it off at the end of each, gain those points, and were able to, so you could possibly get 4 resources for each one of these types of things. That might be too powerful. I don't know. But it'd be interesting to see how maybe that would work. Or not get the points at all and just be able to clear it off every time. Then you'd be like missing out on those benefits multiple times. So it could work maybe. It might be too overpowered too. I don't know. But yeah, overall, it's an interesting one, I think. Then we're on back to a base game civilization. I put this one 18th. You put it 15th. Or no, I'm reading the wrong one. I put it 25th. You put it 9th. So a little different. You definitely prefer this. These are the Merrymakers. Yes, the Merrymakers frequently celebrate love and life. The longer the festival, the better. Start with 1 player token at the bottom of each track. At the beginning of your income turns 2 through 5, select 1 token to advance upward and gain the first benefit it lands on. It probably shouldn't have been this high. I think for some reason when I was looking at it, because I haven't played these in a while, I know I played these quite a bit early on when we got it. Or at least maybe not quite a bit, as in multiple times. There's some that I feel like I probably only played once in this. For some reason, when I looked back at it, I thought it only went up 2 to the top benefit. So I thought, like, you get quite a bit of good stuff. But looking back at it, you don't get that much. 4 advancements. So you can get to the top of 1 track, which I think you would want to get to the top of a track if you start it. So you can get to the top of a track and then once on another track. And they are really good benefits. On the tops, for sure, and especially that leftmost track. You can get a yellow resource, then a gray and a brown resource, then a red resource and a red building. That's probably one I'd go for. But then also you can get an exploration and a science roll with benefit at the top of the next track. But the first benefit of that one is just the territory tile and some cards. And the other ones are points, which can be a good chunk of points, but I just don't feel like I'd ever focus on that. So while the benefits look really nice, and if it was only 2 spots to go up to get them, it would be a lot higher. But as it is, I think I'd mislooked to this and almost just avoided even looking at that first row of either a yellow resource, a tile, or 5 points. But so it'd probably be a little lower. Probably mid-teens for me. But still, it's still a good... I think that's a good one to start with, for sure. It can get you 4 resources, a building, and some points as well, so it can be pretty good. Not number 9 good. It's probably not top 10. It's probably not top 10. Now we are back to the Arts and Architecture expansion, this is the third one overall since we've started this list. Second one on this list, you'll have to check out the first video to see which one fell down there. But this one I ranked 22, and you also included this in your top 10 at number 10, and these are the urban planners.
Yes, the urban planners want a neat, orderly city. They see a place for everything, and everything in its place. After players have chosen landmark cards at the game's start, or when you gain the urban planners, choose an additional card from the landmark deck. If no landmark cards are available, you may discard this and draw a different civilization mat. When you gain a landmark, you may place it on this card. If you do, you may place it in your capital city on a future turn. At the end of your final income turn, gain victory points according to the chart below for the largest group of connected landmarks in your capital city, where each landmark touches at least one other landmark orthogonally. So for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 possible landmarks touching, you can get either 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, or 49 points, which can be a lot of points. But I guess it doesn't really get you any other like resources.
Yeah, nothing during the game.
But I find this one, I probably have this one rated so high because I really like the capital city portion of things. And this was actually, I think, one of the first ones I played in the arts and architecture ones. And I think I ended up getting 6 or 7. It was actually one where I got a lot of landmarks, which was surprising because I usually don't get, I'd say I don't usually get nearly that many landmarks, but this one actually got me going for some of the tech landmarks, which I don't always do. But I actually got it because there's the new mats as well. So I actually got them all kind of. It was actually, which one was it? I think it was even that one
wide open.
No, I think it was actually the one where you had to get like the first 3 complete before.
From top
I
to
still
bottom.
somehow got it to all connect. I think it was that one. It might have been a different one, but I enjoyed it. So kind of what you may be seeing from some of mine are, I think I just had good experiences with some of these. I don't know that, looking at this one, if I got it, would I be like extremely excited, top 10 excited? Maybe not, but my recent experience with it was a pretty good one.
Yeah, I like gaining an additional landmark card. I think that's really good.
Yeah, that part I do like a lot too.
Just gives you another bonus, another thing to go for. But the ability to kind of hold them off until later to place them there, I don't know if I'm really a huge fan of that. It can help you plan, but also you're possibly delaying filling districts to get resources or possibly score points for rows and columns, which I just don't really see. That's just not how I would really want to play. But it can be a really good chunk of points at the end of the game if you do end up getting 6 or 7 for 30 to 40 to 50 points. So it's a pretty good one. On to my number 11 and your 19. So now we're to one that I like more than you do, and these are the Inventors.
Yes, so the Inventors start with 4 player tokens on this mat. At the beginning of your income turns 2 through 5, you may move a player token from here to any tech cards, yours or an opponent's. That card is instantly upgraded, and it ignores top row prerequisites. If it is an opponent's tech card, you may gain the benefit after they do. If it's your card, gain the benefit as normal. Whenever an opponent tech card with your token on it is upgraded to the top row, the opponent gains the benefit, and then you gain the tech card, placing it in your bottom row. Your token remains on it. Landmarks and on tech cards already gained by the opponent do nothing for you.
This one is just, it always feels when you get a bunch of tech cards, especially early on, it's like, I don't really have that many upgrades left. You do 1 per income, maybe a couple different on the spots, on the board, but it's like, how am I ever going to actually get all of these cards upgraded to the top row? This one gives you an additional 1 each income if you do want to upgrade your own, but then you can also go over to others' tech cards, give them a benefit, but also you gain the benefit too, and will end up possibly gaining that card, which is really cool. And ignoring prerequisites can give you a really good benefit very early on in the game, like something that you usually have to get to the 4th tier or 3rd, 4th tier of.
Right.
You can get it like that. Maybe I forget which ones are like really powerful. I think maybe the repeat a spot and gain another civilization can require some pretty harsh prerequisites, but that way you can get that earlier. Really like it.
Yeah, I do like that because tech is one of my favorite parts of the game too, and this is a fun way to be able to upgrade things when typically you'd have to wait to do that. And sometimes it's even like, I feel like I even forget sometimes, like, oh yeah, I needed the prerequisite of, like, seems like the best ones need like almost a tier 4 type prerequisite, and those ones I feel like I always forget, because usually it just seems like, I could do anything that I want, but then this one actually helps you out of those situations where you might have been like, oh shoot, that's actually requires someone to, either me or my neighbors, to be on a higher tier that we are not currently on. But,
Next up, another one I prefer over you. I have it 12th. You had it 16th. That is the Craftsman.
Yes, the Craftsmen want to create a wonder of the world, a massive statue. You may place income buildings here as an alternative to your capital city. You must place each building on the lowest available space in a column of your choice. You don't need to finish a column before starting another. As you cover a benefit, gain it immediately. The grid counts as part of your capital city for building-related benefits, but it does not score for completed rows and columns here. That would actually be cool if it did. But it's just kind of got a chart here with, so the first column is 3 rows tall with a gray worker resource, then a tile, then 5 points. The next one is 4 tall with a yellow, then a tech card, then an upgrade, then 10 points. And the last one is 5 tall with a mushroom resource, then a tech card, then a red star resource, a science roll with benefit, or you move forward, and then 15 points. But I love getting income buildings off my mat, so this is a very cool way to use them. If maybe you somehow just are getting unlucky and you're not getting a lot of other buildings, landmarks to kind of fill in your city, and you just know you're not going to be able to maybe fill in a bunch of spaces by using your buildings there. You can use it here and kind of just get those immediate benefits. It's a way to get a tech card without having to actually go up that track. Kind of some other things as well.
Yeah, just the ability to get resources like that. Every income building you get off, at least early on, you can get a resource, and that can really extend your first income, I think, to really get more and more income buildings off, to up your production. And there's just a lot of great benefits, tech cards, and an upgrade for a tech card. Like I said, it feels great when you can get an extra upgrade during the game. A science roll with benefit. Other than just kind of that basic gain a tile and then 5 points, there's not really anything that I feel like, it's just a drag to actually get those. The Tapestry card is, it's not the best, but it's followed up by a star, a science roll with benefit, and 15 points. So I don't mind at all doing that, especially since it's not just like a once per income thing. You can just gain another building and get the next one too. It's pretty awesome that the bottom row are the resource. Immediately you're getting into resources. When you look at it, it's almost like I almost would have thought the tile would be before the gray man and the tapestry card would be before the mushroom. But that was not the case. They would pull. That was not the case. So that's really awesome that you have the option of. Interesting that they didn't include a conquer benefit.
That's true. That's interesting.
Must be too powerful. I guess that gives a resource and points.
That's true.
Yep. So next up, we have, this is actually the section where that probably confused you earlier because I had slotted one in here and you thought that was the end of the section, but it is not. I just did the wrong calculations and had to fix it. Next up, I had them 6th. You had them 21st. These are the Futurists.
Yes. And if you've played Tapestry, you probably know of the Futurists.
They're like the first one, when we first got the game, you look at them and you're like, oh my god, this one's different.
See, I've got a little chart up here, but the futurists mysteriously began their civilization with significant advancements. When you gain this civilization, advance on each track by exactly 4 spaces, with the end of each track as the limit. Do not gain benefits, bonuses, or landmarks. Also gain 1 of each resource. So, I do like what these do. It does bring an interesting feel to the game, because it is setting you up ahead of everyone,
Yep.
but you haven't had the opportunity to get some of those cheaper spots to get a little bit of an engine going by getting some of your income buildings off.
Yep.
You are getting into some better benefits earlier on, so it's kind of like it's still very powerful.
Yep.
But I've grabbed, like, I think over half the time of me getting these, it has not been to start the game, it has been in the middle of the game, and they have messed me over every one of those times, because I have already had it somewhat pretty much planned how I want it to go, and then it just throws me into these places that I don't want to be. I was just about to get all these great benefits, and now my whole game is completely thrown off, and quite frankly ruined. So I've had that. That's probably why it's ranked so low for me, because I've just had bad experiences with being forced up these tracks that I'm like, oh, I just about gained that landmark, and now I'm flying past it, and I don't gain that, and I can't. You know, I was maybe 1 space away from this great spot. But yeah, it's just part of what it is, obviously, and you do like it a lot more than I do, so.
Yeah, it's actually kind of the opposite. I have never started the game with the Futurist. Not once. But I've gained them multiple. I don't know how, I just keep choosing them, but like it has to be like 3 or 4 times I've gained them in the middle of the game, and they've shot me up. And that's really helped me every time that's happened. I think I even got to the end of like all 4 tracks because of that, and a few Tapestry cards, which helped me jump up quite a bit too. But it's kind of pretty much the opposite. It didn't screw me over. It just got me a lot further along all these tracks, closer to all the better benefits, and just really gave me a great experience. And I think that's why they're here. I haven't started the game with them. I've just never been dealt them. I mean, I might have been dealt them once, but I'm like, I just wasn't feeling it that time. But yeah, I just really, really like that option of when you draw a new civ, it's like, is it going to be the Futurist again? Am I going to jump up 4 spots on every track and maybe get a lot closer to these benefits that I didn't think were even on the table? But yeah, I've loved each time.
These ones make me scared to ever gain civilizations mid-game. I feel like I almost never, when I pull new civilizations, I almost never pull good ones.
Yeah. I was playing a game on Tabletopia once with some guy, and he got an extra civilization. He was a little newer to the game, and he pulled that one, and I explained what they did, and he said, "No, I don't want them." So they just didn't gain another civilization. And I'm like, yeah, that's about right. But yeah, on to the next one. Maybe the reason why they start off mysteriously with all their advancements, maybe they were in contact with the aliens.
Ooh, yes. The aliens, I guess, what ranks were they for us?
I have this 7th, and you have it
It's another one of your top 10,
yes.
but I've got it a little lower. The aliens have settled on this planet, but their desire to explore the wonders of the galaxy never ceases. Start with 4 face-up space tiles in your supply, not on this map. And then at the beginning of income turns 2 through 5, if there is a space tile on the civilization map, discard it. Then choose one of these options. Either explore 1 space tile from your supply, placing it on the civilization map. If you discarded a space tile from your civilization map this turn, you must first pay a resource, or else you can just gain a resource. So, yeah, these ones can definitely be really powerful. Yep. Space tiles are a lot of fun.
Yes.
Are probably one of the funnest kind of things in the game when you're, I'm going for space tiles, I'm going to be drawing, what am I going to get? Because their bonuses are just insane, so much fun. But yeah, I might have been giving it too hard. I haven't played these in a little bit. I think it just... planning to have that extra resource to play those I think is what kind of throws me off with these ones a little bit.
That's the only thing, really, why it is maybe not, I assume, not super high for you, and just feels like, pay to gain a benefit from your civilization. But still, I mean, you start off with space tiles. It's just so exciting. Like you said, it's one of my favorite parts of the game. They can be so powerful, especially with some of the new space tiles they've added for like 5 points every time you advance on a track, which usually you're going to be playing the space tiles later on in the game, where you're not going to move up as much. But if you can get it right away with those cheap spots on those tracks, you can get a ton of points. I think you had done that once. I think that might have even been for one of our tap talks as well, that you kind of did that on for one of the tracks and just like shot up like 7, 8 spaces.
Yeah. So, aliens,
and that is a plans and ploy civilization.
Yes.
So on to the last one for this section, just outside of the top 11. I guess like there's 31. They couldn't just, although, okay, there's one that they could remove and just make it an even 30. But you'll have to find out what that one is. Go watch our previous video.
Right.
But yeah, so the last one for today is actually my number 1, and you're number 24, which is shocking because we've each experienced amazing games with this civilization. I don't know if you had it, but you've been in games where this civ has really extended their game. Yes. And that is the historians.
Yes. So the historians want to witness the achievements of other civilizations. Start with these 4 squares covered with your player tokens. At the beginning of your income turns 2 through 5, you may discard 1 territory tile from your supply to give a token to any opponent, even if they already have a token. This represents a historian you're sending to that civilization. Whenever any opponent with your token gains a landmark, gain all of the exposed benefits. If you gain the civilization in the middle of the game, immediately give 4 of your player tokens to opponents, leaving the square exposed on this map. The square's exposed on this map. So you've got 2 spots that are worth 3 points each, and then 1 spot that is a mushroom resource, and 1 spot that is a gray man resource. And this one, yeah.
Explain yourself.
I like this one. It is fun if you have them and you can get these tokens to the right players. Because if they are picking up, if you can get the 2 resource ones off, and you can get that player to get landmarks and just keep getting them, you will have a lot of extra resources. And that is kind of what happened in one of the games that I played. He had actually, Zach, my brother-in-law, had actually moved or gotten these tokens to, I think, me, and then I think it was Carson. 2 of us. It must have been by the second time he had been able to take a token off, and we ended up just getting almost all the landmarks, us 2. So he was getting 2 resources, and it was like, it seemed like, I don't know how we even got so many landmarks. There was one where we were, for some reason, picking the tech ones with landmarks and completing those actually too. So he was just continually smacking this 2 resource thing over and over and over, extending his game, which is awesome. I really like that it can do that. But yeah, I'm like, oh boy, these almost feel a little too powerful for me. But
yeah, I mean, just the ability to gain, and you don't have to start like from left to right or anything, which a lot of these do. You get to choose which one you want to go for, which you're gonna pick the resources, or you should. I think. I mean, I don't want to say that like we know Tapestry better than everyone, and this is the way to do it, but I think you have to go with the resources
for this one.
And it's just like you said. It's not even like, oh, when they gain one, pick one of the exposed benefits. It's like you get all of the exposed benefits.
Right.
And I mean, God forbid you somehow gain the civilization early on in the game, an additional civ, and you get all 4 of them off. Get one to every other player.
Yeah, pretty much pass it to every opponent, and then just sit back and not try to get any landmarks.
I mean, it can just be unreal, and I mean, yeah. And then I had a game with them and gained a ton of resources as well. So it kind of sounds like it'd take a while to get those tokens off, but it really doesn't take long. And there are a good amount of landmarks in the game that you're probably going to gain at least like 6-8 resources from this, which is. I mean, you're probably gonna
even more than
you're
that.
gonna gain quite a bit more, but I think that's like the minimum, and that's still pretty good. Like probably averaging to like 2 resources per income for a civ, and you can do that. And that's one of the best things. It's not just during your income; it's any turn anyone
Right.
with a token gains it. You get all of these benefits.
Right.
It's just, it feels overpowered.
Right.
I think.
And I think maybe my not as much like about it is it doesn't really feel like you're doing any of it. Like you're not really having too much influence on
That's what's
going
thematic.
on.
They just want to witness the
Right.
greatness.
It is thematic to what they're
And
doing,
then
but yeah, it just I kind of like ones where it does influence your play a little bit. This. Honestly, as long as you have the tiles to take off those first 2,
which you gain
every time, so you should have them. Hopefully, at least to get those first 2 off. I think the 2 resources. But yeah, I think the only reason I have it a little lower is just because I think I sort of like the ones where you have a little more control over what you're doing, or it doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
This one really feels like you're very loosely, or you're really not doing too much.
Before I had actually played as them and kind of witnessed them witnessing the greatness, it didn't feel like an exciting one to me. But just really seeing how great the benefits can be,
I think that's just
it is enough to put it up for me, even though it's not really something you're doing.
Really solid benefits, but yeah, I think that's the right word. That it's. For me, it's not overly exciting.
Yeah.
But, yeah. At least you're getting a benefit when your opponents are.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
As bad as that may make them feel.
So, yes. So that was your number 1. Wow.
Yes.
So, but we haven't gotten to my number 1 yet.
No, we have not.
So you'll have to check out part 3 of this little mini-series.
You can call it mini. There's 31.
That's true. It's almost longer than a lot of the Netflix and Disney Plus and all their miniseries. This one's probably better than all those combined, and we don't even charge monthly. So I mean, I don't know what that's saying.
Not your average tabletop plus.
Yes. But yeah, we hope to see you on that final video. Otherwise, also go back if you haven't already. If you wanted to watch them out of order and watch them 20 or whatever number we're on, thrown off. Watch this one first, part 1 second, part 3 last, whatever, however you want to watch it.
However you want to watch them. We've only had 1 crossover so far where we both ranked it the same.
That's true. Are we going to see any more?
We'll see.
But yeah, we hope to see you on the next video. And as always, don't forget to
keep on nibbling
on our content.